This is Religion in the News, sponsored by Wish TV, in cooperation with the Church Federation of Greater Indianapolis.
Good morning, I'm J.R. Ryder. Welcome to our March edition of Religion in the News. Joining me today is Carol Sissom, Merlin Gonzalez, Faith James, and Maria Pimentel Gannon. We have a great show for you today as our guests talk about a new food pantry, the 1964 Civil Rights Act, an upcoming women's empowerment event, impressions of our city from a local archbishop, and the Church Federation of Greater Indianapolis talks about an upcoming workshop to share their vision. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Religion in the News. My guests today are the directors of the Church Federation of Greater Indianapolis. Welcome to our program.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
Okay, so we have Vice President of the Church Federation, Michelle Muir. Yes. Welcome to our show. Okay. And then we have Judy Denson. You are the interim Associate Director of Unity and Mission.
That's right.
Okay, welcome again to Religion in the
you.
News. So I know we have a lot to talk about in this short period of time. So Michelle, I'll start with you. There's this new quadrant model that the Federation has now come up with. Tell us about what this model means, what it means for the Federation and for the city of Indianapolis.
Well, it's a very interesting model that we've collaborated within the board and within our membership. And the quadrant basically divides and unifies as well the city in 4 different quadrants. And basically
plus downtown.
Plus downtown, yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it involves downtown as well. And basically what it is one thing that we have come up with, kind of our motto, so to speak, our tagline is being a catalyst for unity, reconciliation, and service. And the new quadrant model brings that all together in the fact that we bring neighborhoods together, and also neighborhoods can collaborate with each other. For example, if there is a church on the northwest side that has a pantry that is open certain days of the week, and there's a church further down the street that is also in that northwest quadrant, they can collaborate together with their food pantries. For example, if we're open Tuesday, Thursday, why don't you perhaps be open Monday, Wednesday?
Okay.
So that would be a type of collaboration.
So it's more benevolent driven, it sounds like.
Well, it's
yes
even
and
beyond,
no.
it's benevolent as well as other collaborations as well.
Well,
For example,
Centennial Village is a good example of beyond benevolence.
We're familiar with that Centennial Village project.
Yes. Very good. And Centennial Village, and once again, what Judy had mentioned, is a wonderful collaboration between churches, community leaders, and neighborhoods together, where homes have been built through the collaboration of a number of different folks within that community, which is on the northeast side of Indianapolis. And once again, that collaboration was part of our centennial, the Church Federation's centennial as well. So that's an example of, once again, a quadrant type model that came together with leadership from churches, from neighborhood leaders, and from the neighborhood itself.
Has this already been put into effect? I'm assuming that it's heading in that direction?
We are trying to roll it out, as they say. The quadrants have been designed. There are meetings that are occurring normally on a monthly basis. If you go to our website, those meetings are listed. There are different host sites for each meeting. It's been a wonderful program or model to see grow, so to speak.
And Michelle, real quickly, we don't have much time. Excuse me, not Michelle. Judy,
yes.
Why don't you tell us about some of the events coming up in March here?
Well, one of the things that Church Federation is doing is resourcing the community so that they can find sources of funding, find sources of other type of support. In fact, we have a grants workshop coming up on March 17th, and it is specifically designed to help people to know how to apply to the Church Federation for those resources. And it'll take place at the Interchurch Center on March 17th. The other things that we'd like to call to attention is that there are grants that are available through the Benevolence Fund as well as through the Hunger Funds, and people can apply for those, and information on that is also on our website. There'll be a new application process that'll be described there. I want to highlight also June 13th.
Well, I don't want to cut you off, but we'll make sure that we go ahead and put the flyer for the remaining of the events up here. We're actually running out of time, but thank you both for being our guests this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Religion News, and we'll have you back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Carol, now to you.
Thank you, JR. Good morning. I am Carol Sisson, and today's interview is part 2 of this very special series about the 50-year anniversary of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Once again, we have with us attorney Scott Barnhart.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming back a second time. Now, I know last month we touched briefly on your experience as a local civil rights attorney, and I'm so curious how the Civil Rights Act affects Indianapolis. And we also have with us a very special guest. We have Martin Luther King's nephew, Derek King.
Pleasure to be with you.
Scott, please tell us.
Sure. You know, in passing the Civil Rights Act, it was an important part of our history, and a critical part of our history, in fact, but we still have a long way to go. And there have been recent issues in the news just within the last month from the last time that we were on, demonstrating kind of the issues that we have today, and basically the insensitivity still today, and we're still dealing with racial issues, whether it's in Mississippi with the incident that happened with the James Meredith statue, in Trenton, New Jersey with a picture having to do with children at a high school, and we're still running into racial problems, and it's still a problem today, even in Indianapolis. We're still dealing with it.
And just recently with the school lunch?
Yes, Park Tudor had an incident recently where they had a school lunch in celebration of Black History Month. I believe there was a certain menu that they were having, and I think that shows some of the problems. There are still ways that we need to go with respect to this issue.
Mr. King.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You have a very famous family. Please talk to us about your very famous uncle.
Well, first of all, I had nothing to do with being born into that family. You know, my mom and daddy did what they did, and I was born, and they told me who I am. Growing up in the King family, our values, first we're just normal people, my family is value-driven, humanitarian, godly, very moralistic. Martin Luther King, to me, was not the icon, he was my uncle. In every sense of the word, fantastic human being, didn't get to know him, but 14 years of my life.
You were just 14 when he died?
14 when he died. Felt cheated and robbed. Why would such energy be directed at removing a man who was trying to do good? But on the anniversary of the Civil Rights Act, it was an attempt to make America live up to what you said on paper. All men are created equal. But one thing, we can pass laws, but laws do not govern the heart. So.
Now you have a very special story. You tell us about how your first day in junior high, you were in Louisville, Kentucky. Please talk to us about that.
Shawnee Junior High, on the heels of the Civil Rights Act, school integration. I was educated up until the 7th grade in segregated southern schools. Go to Louisville, Kentucky, go to this predominantly white high school. The air was, okay, they're here. And I could feel the tension from the majority white population that we don't want you here, but if we had our way, you wouldn't be here, but we got to do this legally. I went to school to get an education. I wasn't influenced or affected by the attitudes, the prejudices, and the biases. I learned what those teachers taught, and some of what they deposited in me have helped me to become the person I am today. I wouldn't change it.
Now, being 14 years old when the act came about, and being the famous person, did they know who you were, or you were just a black boy in a white high school?
Well, they knew. They knew, because my daddy was just as active as my uncle. Tensions in Kentucky were high relative to civil rights matters. One thing I forgot to mention, my first day going to junior high in an integrated educational environment, I had to ride to school in a police car.
Wow.
There were police walking the halls.
Scott, thank you so much. And we're going to continue this series, and we hope that both of you will join us again, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Back to you.
Thanks, Carol. Good morning. I'm Faith James. Ladies, does the transformation begin with you in the ladies' room or in the locker room? My guest tells us more about this opportunity when we return.